Shalom Aleichem, everybody. We're up to Daf Chaf Dalin and Zvachim, and we start from Chaf Gimel and base towards the bottom by the two dots. The Mishnah says that Yoshev, a kohen who sits b'shas the avoda, it's a avoda psula. Gemara asks me, Nolan, how do we know that? Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Kra, La Moed L'Shares, La Amida B'charte V'Loi L'Yeshiva. It says La Moed L'Shares. You have to stand while you do the avoda, but they weren't nifchar, they weren't chosen to do it be yeshiva. So Rashi points out, so if they sit down, they're like a zar, and a zar does the avoda, l'chayra is chayiv misa, which is the next kasha of the Gemara. Gemara says, it says lamod l'sharis, lamid b'chartav l'yeshiva, ton rabbanon lamod l'sharis mitzvah. Maybe it's only katchila k'shoyim ra'im dem shana l'vakasav l'akiv. Okay, so it's but the Evid also it's ma'akev. Amalei Rav Nachman Michdi Yoshev Kazar Dami Mechel Avoda. Yoshev is like a zar. Ima Mazar b'Misa af Yoshev b'Misa. Halam Batanya Aval Oral Einin Yoshev Eina b'Misa Ela Bazara. So the Gemara asks, L'chayra, if a kohen who sits b'shas the avoda is considered like a zar, so l'chayra should be chayiv misa. We know there's a brisa not like that. The Gemara answers, Mishum Davam Mechusar Begodem V'Shleirochet Tzitayim B'Ragleim Shnei Ksuvim Abanka Echad. Because when it says the oynish of Misa, it only says it by Mechusar Begodim and Shleirochetz Yadayim V'Raglayim. So the Klal Shnei Ksuvin Abon Ke'echad Ein Melamdin, you can't use it as a binyanav for everything else. Asks the Gemara Lamanda Omer Melamdin, what are you going to say if you say it's Melamdin? Gemara says Shsuya Yayin. There's another parsha of a kohen who does the avoda where his chay is Misa B'dei Shemayim. That is Shsuya Yayin. Havale Shlishi Shloisha L'Divrei Koilei Melamdin. So you have Shloisha Ksuvin Abon Ke'echad and and that's why a Yoshev Hagam is like a Zar, he's not chayiv. He's not chayiv Misa. Right, so you have only two cases, or max 3 cases by Kehanim, where they do the avoda, where there could be chayiv Misa, Suya Yayin, or Mechusar Begodim, or somebody who is Loi Rochutz Yadayim V'Raglayim. Okay, so that is the Makar for Yoshev, that his avoid is psula, it says lamoid, even though he's a zar, he's not chay, he's like a zar, he's not chay misonic, because shloshik sum megach they melamdin. Says the Gemara, oim lagabe kelam lagabe behem lagabe ragla chavere pasul minolan. How do I know if somebody stands on kelim, his feet are not mamish on the floor of the azar and the ritzpas azara? His avoid is psula minolan tanabe b'shmol hoil v'ritzma mukadeshes uklei shoros mukadashim. Since the ritzpas ahechal and the azara is mukadeshes, is holy, and the klei shoros are also holy. V'chein, yeah, also klei shoros mekachem ma klei shoros lohed v'choitzitz beinu lebein klei shoros. We know that there can be chatzitza between the hand of the kohen and the klei shoros. Af ritzpa lohed v'choitzitz beinu lebein ritzpa. There can be between the ritzpas azara and the raglayim of the kohen. It can be a chatzitza. Why do we need so many examples in the Mishnah of Kalim and Behema and Raglayim of Chaveroi? Gemara says, because if it just would have said Kali, I would have said the reason why it's a Chatzitza, Mishum Delav Mina de Basar, because it's not a Min Basar. Aval Behema de Mina de Basaru, a Maloi, but a Behema which is a Min Basar, maybe it's not a Chatzitza. Vishman and Behema de La Mina de Odamu, because it's not a Odam. Aval Chavere de Odamu, a Maloi, Tzricha, therefore, you need all 3 cases. Tani Rabbi Eliezer, Ragla Achas ala Kliv, Ragla Achas ala Ritz. But what if he has one regel on a Keli, the other regel on the floor? Ragla Achas ala Evan, Ragla Achas ala Ritz. But Royan Kol She'ilu, Yinot la Kliv, Tinot la Evan, Yochel Lamed al Raglo, Yachas, V'yavid Avedosik Sheder, V'malav Avedosik Psula. So if he's standing on one foot, and the other foot is on a different object, which creates a chatzitza between the other foot and the floor of the azara. So we see if you remove that keli from underneath his other foot, can he still stand on the one foot? So therefore, it would be avodas ksheira, and if not, it would be pasul. What if one of the stones on the ritzpas azara is became disconnected, detached, and it's still there, but it's not, it's detached from the actual floor underneath the tile. And he's standing on that. If his intention is not to connect it, that's not a shaila. That would for sure be a chatzitza. He wants to connect it again, afterwards wants to fix it. Or maybe now, as he's doing the avodah, he's standing on an Evan Tlusha, from the ritzpah, it's not connected to the ritzpah, so therefore we chatzitz and avodah would be psula. Rabbi Zuta boila hacha. Rabbi Zuta asked the shaila differently. Boila bam and nakra Evan. V'amad b'makoyma mahu. Suppose that the whole Evan became uprooted from the floor of the Azara, and he's standing in the Guma, right, in the place where the Evan used to be. Maikim abayale. So the Gemara says the Yesod of the suffix is as follows: Ki Kodesh David. When David HaMelech was Mekadesh the Makam HaMikdash, Ritzpel Yoina Kodesh, he only was Mekadesh the top layer of the Azara. Idilma Adla Ares the Tahaim Mekadesh. Maybe it was Mekadesh all the way till the Tahaim, the ganze Karka, until the bottom. V'teboyle Kol Azara Kula. So why isn't he have a shaila? If it's nitla kol ritzbas azara, why is he only busy with one rock, with one stone, with one of the tiles? Gemara says la'olam shitlei da'adar is the time of Kodesh. Avada, when David HaMelech was mekadesh da'azara, it was mekadesh ad lekarka tahaim. Kamiboyle achei kamiboyle. Here he has another suffix. Derech sheirus bekach, or ain't derech sheirus bekach, right? The shaila is it called derech sheirus or not? Teku. And that we blind by a shaila on that. Okay, the Mishnah says, Kibble besmoil pasul. What if he accepted the dam? He received the dam with his left hand, machloikes Tanakama and Reb Shimon. Kibble besmoil pasul, Reb Shimon machsher. Ton Rabbanon. Steht in the Torah, betzboi velokach. Yeah. It says, by the carbon chatas, velokach hakoyim bedam chatas be'etzboi. Yeah, v'lokach be'etzboi. So the Torah darshans, the Gemara darshans be'etzboi v'lokach melamish tekabala ela biyamin. Right? Be'etzboi v'nosan. Since the be'etzboi is in the middle of the pasuk, right before, and it's v'lokach, which is the Kabbalah, and afterwards it's v'nosan. So I also learned that v'nosan be'etzboi v'nosan melamish v'nisina ela biyamin. Okay, so we know, we'll see soon, we know that anytime it says etzba in the Torah with regard to avoid, that means biyamin. So the Torah put etzba in the middle between velokach and v'nosan. So it must be that the velokach, the Kabbalah, has to be biyamin as well. Gemara says, Omer Reb Shimon argues, he says, v'chinemra yad b'Kabbalah. Right, l'chayra, when you do the Kabbalah, you do it b'yad, you don't do it be'etzba. So it doesn't say yad b'Kabbalah to tell you, to teach us that it has to be biyamin. Ela be'etzboi v'nosan. Shlatenesina ela biyamin. Right? When you do the zrika, you sprinkle a little bit with your finger. So it says betzboi v'nosan. So it's then you could learn that the nesina, the zrika, has to be biyamin. But since usually the way you do Kabbalah is biyad, you hold the klisharis with your hand. So kibbul b'smel is also kosher. But Reb Shimon Manafshech asks the Gemara. 1 second, slow. If he holds the gzeira shava from the Torah, which over there the Torah says lehedya, yad and etzba biyamin. So kiloi nemra yad beKabbalah mayhavi. Who cares if it doesn't say yad? It doesn't say the word yad by the Kabbalah Saddam. You still have the Gzeir Shava of Etzba to teach you need Yamin. If he less like Gzeir Shava, if he doesn't know the Gzeir Shava, Kinemer Yad Bekabbalah Mayhavi. What would have happened if you say Yad Bekabbalah? And the Gemara could have asked even more. Yeah, how could you even learn Etzba that the Nesina, the Zrika has to be Biyamin if you don't hold the Gzeir Shava? You only know Biyamin that has to be Biyamin from Matzorah. Less like Gzeir Shava. Really, Reb Shimon does not hold the Gzeir Shava from Matzorah. He doesn't hold of the Gzeir Shava, and since it doesn't say Yad, doesn't say Yad Yamin B'Kabbalah, so you can't require the Kohen to be Mekabel the Dam B'Yad Yaminoi. That's why Kibbul B'Smoil kosher. Gemara says, Amalei Rabbi, Yachei Afila Nesina Nami. Why shouldn't the Nesina be kosher B'Smoil? If you don't have a Gzeir Shava from Etzba from Matzorah, that it means B'Yamin, so let it be Mekabel the Dam, let it be Zoyrik the Dam, B'Smoil as well. V'oid v'chilas let Reb Shimon Gzeir Shava. Is it true that Reb Shimon doesn't hold the Gzeir Shava? V'tani Reb Shimon nami kol makosh nami yad in el Yamin, Etzba in el Yamin. It is Yamin from Matzorah. Elo merav lo'olam isle Gzeir Shava. V'achi kamar. V'chinemre yad b'Kabbalah. It doesn't say yad by Kabbalah. Since it's not usually the derech to be mekabel the dam with an etzba, so it must be that the etzba, which means yamin, because he does all the Gzeir Shava, is only going on the nesina, and that's why the nesina needs to be a yamin, but not the Kabbalah sadam. If that's the whole Yesoid or Makar for Reb Shimon, that the Kabbalah Saddam doesn't have to be Biyamin, Hagami holds the Gzeir Shava because usually you're not makabel the dam with your finger. You usually do it with your hand. You're holding the Kli Shadas. So the Gemara says, but it's possible to be makabel the dam be'etzba. He holds the handle of the Kli Shadas with his finger. Elam Rabbaye, no, that's not the reason for the Shimon either. Lamaisa Reb Shimon holds b'mikra nidrish lafanav al'achrav kemiflagi. They're arguing whether a word that's put in the middle of a pasuk could be darshaned lafanav and la'achrav, right on the both bookends of the pasuk. So Reb Shimon holds that since it says be'etzba after v'lokach, so you can't darshan be'etzba lafanav. It's only la'achrav, and it's only going on the nesina, on the zrika. It's not going on the Kabbalah. And Tanakama holds no mikra nidrish lafanav la'achrav, and since it says be'etzba between v'lokach and v'nosan, they both have to be biyad yamin. Says the Gemara, Omer Abaye, Yod Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, Mafkim Edavua, Mafkim Edrabanan. The Ma'aser Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon argues on his father Reb Shimon, and he also argues in the Rabbanan. Right, he has a third shita in this sugya. The Tanya Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, I mean, Kol Makom Shnemer Etzba B'Kabbalah, Shina B'Kabbalah Pasul, and Benesina Kosher. Anytime it says Etzba by Kabbalah, Shina B'Kabbalah Pasul, which means it would be Pasul B'Yat Small. And Benesina, if he's Meshana Desina kosher, V'chol Makom Shnemer Benesina, Shina Benesina Pasul B'Kabbalah kosher. Then if he's Meshana Benesina, it's Pasul, and B'Kabbalah it would be kosher. Which means the Blazim Reb Shimon is also maskim that Etzba in the Torah, when it comes to Karbonis, means B'Yad Yamin, because he holds the Gzeir Shava from a Torah. So anytime it says Etzba by Kabbalah, he requires Yad Yamin. If it says Etzba Benesina, it requires Yad Yamin by the Nesina. The Gemara says, "Ve'ichan nemar etzba benesina." It says the chsiv lekachta medam apar, but the kanos and zbeich betzbo echo. But the parachatas that was nikravd in the Yemei Meluim, it says clearly the word etzba by the nesina and not by the Kabbalah. It says lekachta v'nesata betzbo echo. So the etzbo echo is going back at the nesina, not on the Kabbalah. Iksav mikra nidish lafanav v'lo lefnei fanav. And the Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon holds also that you're not doirish la'achrav. Right, but the Karban Chatas, in the case where Tanakam and Reb Shimon argue, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon will hold that the etzba is only going back la'fanov and not la'achrav. So that's a unique opinion. Right, he doesn't hold like his father, who only holds mikra nidrish la'achrav, and he doesn't hold like Tanakama, who holds mikra nidrish la'fonav ula achrav. He holds that mikra nidrish only la'fonav, v'loy la'achrav, v'loy la'fnei fonav. That's how he holds. So daily Gemara vayta Omer Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan Kol Makom Shneber Etzba Kahuna Eino Elu Yamin. Anytime the Torah says the word Etzba Kahuna, it means Yad Yamin. Because look at that entire Tabinus. The Gemara thought that Rabbi Yochanan said you need both. Right, you need Etzba and Kahuna to tell you Yad Yamin. The Gemara says, "K'dechsiv v'lo k'hakoyin medam achatas betzboy yalaf mimetzoyed dechsiv v'taval hakoyin betzboy amanas." The Gemara is very kmitzed l'ksiv b'la Kahuna nan kamatz b'smoil pasel. Only says Kahuna, doesn't say Etzba as well. Ela merava oy Etzba oy Kahuna. Rabbi Yochanan meant either Etzba or Kahuna that would require Yad Yamin. Amle bayre loch savarim lekevesh dechsiv b'Kahuna dechsiv v'hikra b'koyin eskol v'hikra mazbecha v'mamar zu loch savarim lekevesh at nan uregla shlumin b'smoiloi ubeis oira lechutz. So you see clearly from this Mishnah that you can be moilich the avarim on the mizbeach even b'yat small. Hagam it says the word Kahuna, and you just told me when it says either Kahuna or Etzba, it always means Yad Yamin. And here you see the halachas avarim on the kevesh to the mizbeach can be done b'yat small as well. Since we learn from Gzeir Shava of Metzora, so it's only what davar ma'akev kapara, which is zrika, or the zrika was ma'akev kapara, but or the Kabbalah. But when we're talking about a lachas avarim lekevesh, that's not ma'akev kapara, then you can darshan it from Metzora Gzeir Shava the Yad Yamin. The Kabbalah dechsiv b'kuhuna davar ma'akev kapara who at non kibul b'small pasal v'Reb Shimon machshir. Yeah, Reb Shimon is machshir, even though it's dover ha'ma'akev kapara, and you just told me from Gzeir Shava from Metzora that that it would be possible. You dash the Gzeir Shava. Reb Shimon tarti boy. No, Reb Shimon taka needs Etzba and Kahuna. What says, "Mi boy Reb Shimon tarti." Is that true? V'tani Reb Shimon never called Makom never yad en el yamin. That's ben el yamin. So you see from this brayso that Reb Shimon doesn't hold you need kahuna as well. Only yad. Gemara says, "Etzba le boya kahuna, kahuna boya etzba." When it says etzba alone, it doesn't need the word kahuna. That's enough to dash the gzeir shava. You need yad yamin. Kahuna, but if it says kahuna alone, then boya etzba, and therefore Reb Shimon is machshir by Kabbalah because it only says kahuna. Gemara says ela koyin lamali. So why do you need the word koyin? If koyin itself doesn't help, only if it has the word etzba with it, lamali. So why does the pasuk have to mention the word kahuna there? Gemara says biki hunan. It means they have to be lovish big de kahuna. That's what you darshan from there. That's why it says bekahuna. So once you're telling me that kahuna alone doesn't imply that you need yad yamin, unless it has etzba together with it, so how could zarek b'smoil be puzzle? It only says the word kahuna over there. Rabbi Palig b'braisa, the Tanya kibul b'smoil puzzle with Reb Shimon machshir. Zarek b'smoil puzzle with Reb Shimon machshir. Reb Shimon is actually choylek on there as well. More asks Elohadam Ravo Yad Yad Lakmitza Regel Lachalitza Oizen Litzia Lamali. Why do I need a separate Gzeir Shava for Kmitza? That has to be done by Yamin. By Kmitza it says Kahuna. So the Gemara says, you could learn it from Rabbi Babarchana B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, because every time it says Kahuna, you need Yad Yamin. So why do I need a separate Gzeir Shava over there? So the Gemara says, Chad l'koimetz, that the kmitza needs to be done b'yad yamin, v'chad l'kiddush koimetz, that the kiddush koimetz, putting it into klisharis, also needs to be yad yamin. In other words, these are additional avodas that he has to be biyad yamin. Asks the Gemara, Reb Shimon b'lei kiddush kaimetz. L'madam Reb Shimon nami b'lei kiddush kaimetz. B'smoil achshuri machshir. Right, so yad Rav Lamali. What's he going to do with the Gzeir Shava? He's machshir kiddush kaimetz with the yat small. So the Gemara says, "Ila kmitza atzma." If you're going to tell me that it needs the Gzeir Shava for the kmitza itself, not for the kiddush kaimetz, but the my time the Reb Shimon the Makrok Kodesh Kedoshim Ike Chatas v'Cha Osham. The Torah is makish, the mincha, the kaimetz, the chatas and the osham, and just like the zrika, by the chatas and the osham has to be biyad yamin, so too the ktoras hakaimetz has to be biyad yamin. Bala oivda biyad, oivda biyamin. Kechatas bala oivda bechli, oivda besmoil kaosham. It says, so what do you need to show for the kaimetz minchas choyte, to teach you the kaimetz of minchas choyte. Sagadach min oil from Reb Shimon. Shlo yikarbona mehuder. Right, it doesn't bring shemen or levina by a minchas choyte because we don't want this carbon to be mehuder. Ki kametz le besmol namit kasher. So therefore, maybe small would work over there. Kamash malon the gzeir shov of yad yad. That by kmitz of a minchas choyte, hagam it's not a carbon mehuder. Still needs to be done. B'yad yamin. Okay, I'll stop over here.